What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Happy Saturday to y'all, and thank you guys for coming back to the channel. Today we're going to continue our God roll guides, as yesterday we went over our ritual weapon with the Fair Judgment. Today we're going to go over our Crucible comp weapon with the Stasis Deadlock Shotgun. That is a precision frame, is super good in my personal opinion. Not like Dusk Rock level good for that Kinetic Slot, but definitely up there. Fractethyst and this are definitely my two favorites, so let's get into it, because this thing doesn't have an origin trait like a lot of our other weapons do now in Destiny, but we have 4 different stock options, and I think PvE wise, first off that we're going to cover here is the composite stock is probably your best. Stability and handling, there isn't really anything too crazy about these stocks for the PvE side of this weapon, but having that little extra handling to hot swap, if you will, between this and a heavy, and stability because we're going to try to shoot it as quick as we can, flinch, etc. A lot of enemies, but we're up close and personal, so nothing too crazy like I said about stocks for PvE. First column right here, barrel wise, we're going to go with reload as our masterwork so we can juice those enemies, and then corkscrew rifling, stability, range, handling. You could go with something that gives you a little bit more range, but again, just kind of like the jack of all trades perk right here for our barrel in corkscrew rifling. Interesting aspect to this weapon, we got 3 different options in my personal opinion for the PvE realm. First off, a little faster for shooting damage output, we got assault mag, hence why we have that stability as well being stacked up with our other mods in our stock and barrel, but a very good little perk that we got for juice and damage on this weapon. It's not like a slug shotgun obviously, but having it as a pellet shotgun with assault mag, not too shabby. Second option is your appended mag, so you get 1 extra shot in your magazine, but with the backup mag mod that we have on this weapon, I don't think appended mag is technically necessary because our other 2 options are better. Assault mag would be my number 1, appended mag would be my number 3 option, and then tactical mag right here would be my number 2 option because we get magazine also at +1, but we get reload and stability, so adds a good little chunk right there to the reload, most importantly in my personal opinion, but I still think assault mag is definitely the best option for your magazines for the PvE realm. Okay, third column right here, nothing too crazy actually, but we do got Grave Robber. I think this is probably tied, I don't know. All 3 perks are definitely interesting in their own aspects. Melee final blows or dealing damage with a charged melee reloads this magazine from reserve. So if you're going for a melee build, something like a Titan that you're using Banner of War, or if you're using like a combination Liar's Handshake, you know, Hunter, something like that, Grave Robber definitely not a bad option for you, and you're able to get a good amount of that juice of damage, if you will, because you're reloading consistently if you're getting that to proc with some builds like that. Now, a little less niche than the Grave Robber is Threat Detector, increased reload stability handling when enemies are in close proximity, so we get 100 handling, 60 in reload, 40 in stability for 2 stacks, and then at 1, 15, 18, 25, so not a bad addition, especially if you get that 2 stacks to proc with that reload, being able to do damage output, especially if you're using that assault mag where you're shooting faster. Having reload at +60 with that is pretty disgusting, but again, niche little combinations, if you will, because you're getting a full reload from Grave Robber, but you're getting just faster reload with Threat Detector. Last option is Threat Remover. Dealing damage with all pellets in a spread increases reload, handling, and stability, so again, giving us just addition to those 3 stats that a lot of our other perks did. Threat Remover does the same thing as Threat Detector, just you have to hit your bullets instead of being near enemies, so those kind of go hand in hand. Like I said, very interchangeable. Grave Robber, if you're doing a melee build, probably your best option, but these 2 might be more practical, if you will, for other types of builds while you aren't using melee, so totally up to you. I would rank them all the same in my personal opinion, but for me, I would probably be looking for Threat Remover over anything. Now, fourth column, 3 options. Once again, Desperate Measures is our first one. Weapon Final Blows, Melee Grenade Final Blows stack damage bonuses to this weapon, so with another combination build, like I said, melee grenade wise, you're able to get a good little damage output on this bad boy, so would probably throw this as my tied for second option between this and Trench Barrel Barrel, which we'll cover next. Trench Barrel is tied, like I said. After successful melee hit, this weapon gains increased damage, handling, and reload for a short duration or until 3 shots is fired. So Grave Robber with Trench Barrel, actually kind of a disgusting combo as well, just because, again, melee builds with those two makes it very, very niche, but also makes it very, very powerful. Last but not least, we got 1-2 punch. So hitting an enemy with every pellet increases melee damage for a short duration. Another just interesting aspect to shotguns that we add with that synergy of melee builds. Grave Robber with 1-2 punch, probably my #1 choice, but that threat remover with the desperate measures, not a bad option as well for damage output, but I do think that 1-2 punch Grave Robber probably your best choice for PvE. Again, I think we got better options, slug shotguns like that, but as for a pellet shotgun, would probably throw this at somewhere around like a 4.3, 4.2, maybe, definitely a little higher than middle of the road, but we do have better options, like I said, but a very, very good weapon regardless. Now, when we move on to the PvP side of things, this thing is super juicy, like I said, goes up there with my Fractethyst for those kinetic shotguns, or I mean, they're both stasis burns, but in that kinetic primary slot up there. Very, very good with the short action stock, especially giving us that plus 15 in handling. This thing feels super crispy and super fast to swap on and off of at like 70 in our handling. Corkscrew rifling for our barrel, jack of all trades again. I played with a couple different perks in this Foundry website that I use for these videos here, and it seemed like I couldn't get the range to stack out any higher than like 94 to 96, no matter which one of these I put on, without using something like that smoothbore, which I really don't like in the Crucible. So I went with the Corkscrew because it gives us that additional handling as well at that 70, which I was liking, and plus 5 in range does help out as well. Accurized rounds, a magazine is what we are going with, plus 10 to range for the Crucible. Absolutely disgusting, like I said. Adding to it, we're at 94 the way I have this built out. Corkscrew Accurized, definitely what you're looking for. Third column, obviously, we're gonna go with Slide Shot as our first option, giving us that increase to range and stability when we slide. Plus, on top of that, we're getting the reload aspect when we do slide. I really like Slide Shot as a personal favorite. Would probably throw it as tied for first with Threat Detector, which is definitely up there for a good perk. But both of these that I'm covering is very good in this third column. Threat Detector, like I said, also very, very juicy in the Crucible. This gets procced very, very easily. We're getting that reload, handling, and stability on this bad boy. Definitely having that handling go up to, even with 1 stack, we're getting it up to 95 for us. So pretty disgusting handling wise. Threat Detector feels good, but I do think, in my personal opinion, maybe a little biased, I like Slide Shot a little bit better because it stacks our range all the way up to 100, which is what I'm looking for on this bad boy. But Threat Detector, very, very good option too. Opening Shot is probably the only option in this fourth column, in my personal opinion. You could go with Desperate Measures if you wanted for a little bit of extra damage, but really not practical in the Crucible. Opening Shot definitely better because we get that accuracy and range on the opening shot of an attack with the combination of either Threat Detector or Slide Shot. Absolutely disgusting. The kind of aim assist range that we get with it feels so good. You're mapping Guardians from a good distance away, especially with that range masterwork on this bad boy. Like I said, we're getting this to stack up to just in basic 90, 94 in its range. When we get Slide Shot, Opening Shot to proc, absolutely juices it up over 100. So it is super crispy in the Crucible. I think I'm giving it like a 4.8, maybe a 4.9. That might be a little bit high, but personal preference. Really enjoy it with the combinations of perks that it has on it. So I would farm those comps, those glory matches for the Crucible. Those 3s, very easy to get those 7 matches in. Then you can go get on each Guardian, farm those 3 matches every week, get yourself a roll of this, and get yourself the God rolls. Definitely has some pretty good ranks in PvE, PvP, like the precision frame aspect of this in our Kinetic Slot. Love having another shotgun in up there that is stasis burn, like the Fractethyst. Feels very good. So again, appreciate all you guys for coming back to the channel. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe, slap that bell if you have not. Helps me out, helps the channel out, helps the algorithm out. Plus you guys won't miss out on any of the content with those notifications, everything like that. So happy Saturday again. I will catch you guys in the next one, which will be on Monday, so be on the lookout for that. I will catch you guys then. Peace.